Good morning. I'm the Reverend Catherine MacDonald, and this is the Spiritual Reflection for United Churches for Dartmouth. Today I'm talking about hope in an age of uncertainty, and it's certainly true that we are living in an age of great uncertainty. From climate change and economic instability to political instability to conflicts around the world, sometimes the weight of anxiety feels overwhelming. And yet hope persists, not as a denial of reality, but as a determined stance in the face of despair. Now, one of the things that I do to not drown in despair is I read the news quite extensively in the morning and then around 6 p.m. and then I don't look at it again for the rest of the night. And I read the news so that I can get more in-depth coverage from a variety of stances rather than just sound bites from the TV or the internet. But there's great biblical wisdom to be found on hope. And I've also been reading a book by Canadian author Maud Barlow. She's been a lifelong advocate for water justice. And so the Bible and her work is really inspiring me these days. It offers us insight into what it means to hold on to hope when the world seems fragile. The Bible doesn't offer a naive or simplistic view of hope. Instead, it speaks to those who know suffering. The Hebrew prophets cry out against injustice, yet envision a time of restoration. The Psalms express deep lament while affirming that God's steadfast love endures. In the New Testament, Paul writes to communities experiencing persecution, urging them to rejoice in hope, be patient in suffering, and persevere in prayer. And hope in the biblical sense is not passive. It's an active trust that the future is not solely shaped by forces of destruction, but also by God's justice and love. Maud Barlow's work in water justice echoes this form of love, this form of hope, one rooted in action and perseverance. In the book that I'm reading right now, Still Hopeful, she reflects on a lifetime of activism, emphasizing that hope is not about wishful thinking, but about commitment to change. She acknowledges the struggles and setbacks, but insists that every effort matters. And she writes, hope is a moral imperative. It's what keeps us going, what inspires us to fight for justice, and what reminds us that a better world is possible. Now, this kind of hope is not naive optimism, but a choice to believe that transformation is possible. It's within reach, even when the odds seem insurmountable. This is the kind of hope that we need in anxious times. It's not the kind of hope that ignores the dangers ahead, but one that equips us to face them. It's the hope of Shiphrah and Puah, the Hebrew midwives in Exodus who resisted Pharaoh's orders and saved countless lives. It's the hope of those who continue to advocate for justice, knowing that change is slow but possible. It's the hope of Jesus, who continued to face the future with love, even in the face of betrayal, and refused to be defined by fear. So how do we cultivate this kind of hope? First, by grounding ourselves in community. We do not carry our burdens alone. Whether it's faith communities or activism or acts of kindness, we are strengthened when we journey together. Second, we remember the stories of those who have persevered before us. The arc of history bends towards justice, not because it's inevitable, but because people have chosen to bend it. And finally, by taking action in whatever way we can, whether through advocacy, care for creation, or simply refusing to let cynicism rule our hearts. Hope does not cease anxiety, but it gives us the courage to move ahead anyway. Blessings on your day, my friends.